didn't like it, Sergeant Major in particular, I think. But it started to create the sense in the company
What about Gunny Vay?
Well, that's right up Gunny Vay's alley. I mean, Gunny Vay runs in sandals because if it's good enough for the Lord, it's good enough for me, right? I mean, like battalion runs. One of the worst ass chewings I ever got from Colonel Lopez was, I guess Vay had done this historically. From my perspective, it's the first time I've ever seen it. But Colonel Lopez had addressed this in months past, and when Gunny Vay went running in Tiva slip sandals, right? Man, Colonel Lopez chewed his ass and then chewed my ass for poor discipline and lack of uniformity and stuff like this on a battalion run, green on green with PT shoes. So Gunny could be very disciplinarian and let's call that third generation, right? But he also had a significant component of his personality where he could view things in a different light. And so he started to dig the Luscious Lima thing. We would play football on Fridays, or do things that were not just running. You know what I mean? We would do these training events where we'd run around. You might call them fartlek, or like.
Right.
And so it just created a sense in the company that we didn't have to do anything. We thought about everything. We picked what we wanted to do, presumably because it's militarily efficient. We aren't actually Rolling Stones, right? But in a Rolling Stone sort of way, we would be very militarily efficient and proficient. And that was the best of both worlds for us.
And the reason I bring up Gunny Vay is because when we interviewed him 3 years ago now, he brought up the idea of Luscious Lima, and that not taking yourself too seriously was an important part of the Lima Company culture.
Yep. Even
going back to Captain Gannon, who made a joke of red licorice is crack, which is apparently funny for him in his personality, and that having the attitude of not taking yourself too seriously was a quality that went well with good combat leadership in his estimation, and he's a school-trained scout sniper, widely respected by the Marines.
Well, let me take a leap, and I'll. Here's a concept. Yes, don't take yourself too seriously, especially if you're a captain, because you're so different from everyone else. You know what I mean? Not in your own head, but the Marines perceive you as or hopefully not in your own head. The Marines perceive you as completely different from them until you start to break down walls. This is a big imperative of leadership, especially in fourth generation, because we break down these walls. You show some humor. You go out and you do the run with the Marines and do their combat endurance test with them, their fartlek course with them. I would take my blouse off a lot so that the rank wasn't on my collar. Like I wanted them to see me as a man, not as a captain. That fit with the Luscious Lima thing. Like, it's luscious, take your blouse off. But again, it has a negative effect from like third generation thinkers. So you can't go too far where then you seem like you're off the reservation. But what I can trace forward is in Ramadi 2, let's even skip over Ramadi 1, the ghost post was an unconventional tactic. Well, that derived from luscious, being able to question assumptions and come up with your own ways of thinking led Mejia to come up with that tactic. Well, we fast forward to Ramadi 2, which we're talking about victory now. Everything means nothing unless we win the war, right? In Ramadi 2, as we're winning, now as the battalion XO, I'm going to people's houses, important people, influential people in the society who we know now, right? And I'm having tea with them in their house, and the Marines are standing post outside. Well, in that scenario, you have to be perceived as a rifleman to the Marines. I mean, you're never a rifleman because you're the major, right? But if it made them nervous to be around me, it'd be disastrous because what we're doing is already different enough. Like, they've got a post security, but not so close where it makes the environment, the T environment, antisocial. So they already have a difficult enough challenge. If now when I say to them, if I grab them and, hey, go out, just go a little further outside and don't look in here, just stay looking outside. Because he knows me, he can probably figure, oh, I'm probably intimidating people, whatever. If I've always been a major to him, if I've always been a commander, it has costs that make it difficult to win the counterinsurgency battle. Now, just to show fairness, when an ID goes off and I'm down south of baseline on October 4th, I have to be the commander, and I have to have the social distance so that I can say, you do this, and he does it. But you know what? Of the two skills, that one comes easier. Like, they leave boot camp with that understanding. There's a degree of breaking down barriers that's more important in the socially centric, network centric of hams nature of fourth generation war that, you know, something like Luscious Lima, or something like Eco Challenge Echo, you know, or like a hiking hotel company. I mean, like mountain hiking, go hike the Grand Canyon. All those things are military enough, but also, I call it civilian enough. You know, be a member of the United States society and then also a U.S. Marine. I think that's important.
Okay, well, thanks. I think it's all great material. Thanks for spending more time with this.
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So, yeah, turn this off.